Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Today's guest is Ann Cowles, a provider at the Northeast Kingdom Regional Hospital in St. Johnsbury. She's here to talk about a health fair that will be held in the coming weeks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I saw the promotion for the upcoming event, and I said, I've got to contact you, and here you are.
I'm so glad you did.
So let's hear a little bit about you first.
Okay. Like you said, my name is Ann. I am a nurse practitioner in the palliative care department at NVRH, our small little hospital here in St. Johnsbury. I've moved back here after practicing and living in a few different states, but I've moved home and I'm really thrilled to be back and working in the Northeast Kingdom. So here in Vermont, I work, like I said, in the palliative care department, and I also work with the Caledonia Home Health and Hospice program as well. So over the last few years, a few different people have probably seen me in a few different areas. I do office visits here in our office near the hospital. I also go up into the hospital and see patients there if they happen to be staying in our med surg or in our ICU. And I also do home visits out in the community, whether that's in a nursing home, assisted living home, or in individuals' homes in Caledonia and Southern Essex County. Nope. I'm one of four. There's 4 providers here in our department. And between the 4 of us, we really span those different areas and work together with a really wonderful collaborative team.
What does a palliative care nurse do?
So what we do in palliative care is we really focus on quality of life and reducing suffering. And as you can imagine, that's a pretty broad definition for, quality of life is different for everybody. So for some people, we help with symptom management, whether that's dealing with chronic pain or nausea. Sometimes it could be agitation or confusion. Sometimes we help people get connected to resources so they have the appropriate caregiver support or home health support that they need. We do a lot of advanced care planning or planning for what your life can look like or we expect your life to look like. Palliative care is generally reserved for folks that have been diagnosed with some form of chronic disease. So initially people get connected with us. Maybe they've been diagnosed with a cancer or a chronic respiratory disease, and they really want to have a thoughtful conversation with somebody about what this disease will look like as it changes and progresses in their life. And we're the people that are here to have those conversations about what's really important to you and what you want your life to look like. And that's where that quality of life piece comes in.
I know this isn't just about palliative care, our discussion, but are a lot of people open to these discussions? Is there a good number of people that kind of shy away from it? Because, you are in many cases talking about, at least you have the end in sight.
Mm-hmm. We really, from my experience, we see a spectrum of that. There are some people that they hear palliative care and they say, no, I don't want to talk to you about that. I'm not dying. I don't want to talk about that. And we might have a conversation about what that looks like and really what palliative care can do for them and their quality of life. Other people, when I first meet them, they are totally satisfied with what their life has been, and they're comfortable with jumping right into the nitty-gritty of what they do and what they don't want. And that's one of the things that I really love about palliative care is that we are the people that are meeting you wherever you are. And we can have in-depth conversations or we can have just check-in conversations. Kind of, I just learned a new term of feeding the meter, just meeting each other, checking in, making sure that you're feeling comfortable with what the care plans that are being presented to you are. A lot of times we can help with those complex decisions that that we're all presented with. Do I want to have a treatment for this cancer if the side effects might make it so I can't go to my grandchild's baseball game? And we're here and open-minded to discuss what you want your care to look like and help you with those complicated decisions.
Before we came on, I sent you an article that was done on my wife and I by Northeast Kingdom Council on Aging. So this topic is, near and dear to my heart, and I will assure you. And the reason I bring up my wife, almost 2 years later, I'm still impressed by her. When she got the death sentence at she was 55 at the time, I can't say she embraced it, but instead of focusing on the end, which she knew was coming, she focused on the present. And I look at her and I still tell people her story because I think we can learn from it, because she knew she was good. Her journey was nearing an end, and she wanted no part, and she knew it full well. But instead of spending her last 20 months just grieving about it, she lived large. We traveled the country. Our last trip, she needed to be in a wheelchair, and she got treatment to hold things back, but treatment she did not allow treatment to get in the way of living. And I wasn't the pilot, I was the co-pilot. And so, I always have to, when this topic comes up, I always have to mention how proud I am of her, because I think through my writing and telling her story, and through her own just inspiration, I think she's really made people discuss this topic. It needs to be. I know with me nearing 60, I now have a partner who I've already told, okay, this is what I expect. And I think we all need that discussion with our significant others.
I completely agree. That article was really beautiful. I'm so glad you were able to share it with me. One of the quotes that I believe your wife said was, "Once I realized I wasn't afraid of dying, it allowed me to truly live."
Right, exactly.
That really does that hit home with me. I often, we get into a cocoon, and our goal is to break you free, right? Allow you to live your life, be the most beautiful version of yourself that you can be in the time that you have left. And I think it's just a really special time and phase of our lives that I think that we often shy away from talking about it. And one common theme I hear is, oh, my family knows what I want. My family knows what I want. They'll know what to do when the time is right. And we spend a lot of time in palliative care trying to empower the person these are your choices. And the more that you have these conversations, the earlier you have these conversations, the easier it all becomes when that time is here. And delaying talking about what you do and don't want doesn't make it easier when that time is here. And the more that we can know about what's important to you before the time is here, the easier it is for all of us to work through acceptance and making sure that you have the quality of life and the quality of life that you're looking for.
And from experience, it also helps those around them. Following the person's passing. It's so much. I won't say it's not easy, but it's easier knowing. So let's go on to the health fair. What is this all about?
So the health fair was born in a meeting in the hospital with myself and another person that's part of the NEK Council on Aging. And we were just kind of sitting there like, man, it would be nice to bring all of these resources that we have in our community together so that the people living here knew that they existed and how to access them. And that's really how it all started. So what we did first was we sent out a community-wide survey to as many people as we could get our hands on. And we had 130 people respond to the survey, which was just really powerful. And from there, we decided which topics we were going to make, or which organizations we were going to make sure we included to cover topics that were rated in the survey as important or very important. And we really just kind of kept blooming from there to bring as many resources together for folks in our community. Our long-term goal is to not make this be a one-time thing. So we're starting this year. We've got our feet in the water and we're building it the best that we can. And we're hoping to make this something that we can continue on in the future to provide more information to more families over time, especially in the Northeast Kingdom.
You know what? Pretty much what I find is we have so many wonderful organizations, so many wonderful programs, but from an outsider looking in, or just trying to find resources, I'm pretty good at it. But I do know that there's a lot of people that, there's so many good organizations, but people don't know where to turn. People don't know which one does what. And so I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. Something that I often hear is not knowing where to find caregivers or how to get meals that are appropriate, or needing some form of assistive device. And our goal is really to bring everybody together in the same room to make those things easier to find, and to give you the contact information on who you need to ask for if you wanted to be connected with a death doula or any form of care that is commonly needed for folks that are transitioning to the end of life.
So if I were going to be in town, which I am not, I would love to have gone to it, because, I'm not sure if you're familiar with my other job. I'm the publisher of Vermont's Northland Journal.
Oh, nice.
I have several Northeast Kingdom history books. And to some degree, I feel, and I've actually been told, that I actually help with the whole transition, because a lot of times I work with people. Many of them are at the end of their journey. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them want to tell their story. They're going to be gone and they want to tell their story. And if I can't do it, another writer might, or somebody else might. There was a case here over in Newport. WCAX asked me to put on an event, and it was the nursing home, and then WCAX came, and there was this man there, and he was connected to tubes and everything, and you could tell he was nearing an end. And he started talking just in a whisper, but you could hear him, and he talked about his experience of being blown out of the sky as his airplane was hit, and then he became a POW, and he only talked for about maybe 3 minutes, and that was it. And next day I was in the store, and somebody said to me, "How did you get my father to talk about his World War II experience?" He says, "I learned more in 2 minutes than I have known all my life." And it was that man's son. And he says, he's agreed to talk to me. And he said, well, he probably won't be able to, because he only is awake a few hours. He's just resting. And so when I went in, and the nursing home administrator kind of chuckled that I thought I was going to do a story with Sam. His name was Sam Bly. And she kind of chuckled. She said, "No, that won't happen." And so over a 2-day visit, I interviewed him each time for about an hour and a half, a man who only spoke a few words a day. And he would close his eyes, and he was so precise on the details. And he went blow by blow by blow, little details that I even researched the facts of. And then I went back and he did the same thing. And his family was astonished. And but I said Sam was ready to go. He wanted to go. The family was ready. And I said, well, I suspect this 3-part series, after the 3-part, I said, this is his one last mission. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, part 3 came out. Within a week, he was gone.
Wow.
And I think if it had been a 4-part series, he would have waited. And it was just something he wanted to do. So I guess I look at my work in some way as a bit of an offshoot of yours.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I call that like a legacy project. What can you leave for the next generation? Telling your stories and allowing those opportunities to present themselves. Vermonters are strong people. It's been a really beautiful place to work. The stories that I've heard and the people I've been able to meet in my short time here, it's been 2.5 years, has been really remarkable. And I'm really honored to work with this community.
So who's going to be at this fair?
There's going to be a lot of people here. So it is happening. It's happening at the Union Baptist Church in Waterford, and the main partnerships are NVRH and also the Northeast Kingdom Council on Aging. We're the 2 main hosts. Caledonia Home Health and Hospice through Northern Counties will also be there. We'll have Biata for their home health and hospice support as well. We'll have the few different funeral homes that are local, different assisted living and nursing homes that are in our area. We have some the New England donor services to talk about body and tissue donation. We have the Northeast Kingdom Death Care Community, which is a newly established community of death doulas. Really excited to be a part, to join with them as well. We have the Northeast Kingdom Human Services, the different rehabs. We have a home delivered meal site from St. Johnsbury coming in to give information on Meals and Wheels and options on how to get meals at home. The Surrogate Son was in-home caregiving specifically for end-of-life care. We have the Green Forest, Green Cemetery with the Vermont Forest Cemetery going. Vermont Ethics Network will be here to talk about advanced care planning, advanced directive completion. We'll have the VA, Veterans Affairs, here to talk about the VA services and then also veteran-directed care programs, which is in-home support for veterans. And we'll also have Vermont Assisted Technology programs here to talk about different hearing devices to help with hearing impaired or visual impairment. We're hoping to also have some more representation from legal aid and financial aid planning. And also, we are really excited to have so many people come together all in one place.
What do you hope people will get out of this?
Our biggest goal and mission, if you will, is to really provide Vermonters in our community with clear, accessible access to the resources and to open up our conversations regarding aging decisions, how to maintain quality of life, especially through end of life. Our goal really is to normalize healthy aging, to help reduce stigmas around seeking and obtaining access to these answers. And we're really just hoping to bring all of the tools together. So I'm really looking forward to the format of the fair the most. We'll have an open presentation in a typical health fair, which I think most people expect, where we have the vendors set up for people to walk around at their own wish and to talk to people from these organizations, to connect them on one-on-one conversations or small group conversations. We also have presentation times set up to give for bigger group presentations. So we'll have the Vermont Ethics Network give a group conversation about advanced directives to to allow for you to just sit and listen and get information. We're really excited to have a panel of people from the new NEK Council on Aging to provide lots of different information about what they can offer and the different resources that they have. And I think the thing I'm most excited about is we are also having a death cafe at the same time at the health fair. And if you haven't heard of a death cafe, it's something you have, I can tell.
No,
Oh, you
no,
haven't?
I haven't. I'm just
So
looking at that. I'm just listening to the name.
the Death
Death
Cafe is
Cafe.
something I believe it started in the UK, and we've actually in St. Johnsbury and in our area we've been they've been around here for several years. But the general idea of a Death Cafe is an opportunity to bring people together. You eat cake, and the topic is to discuss death. And there's no agenda. There's no topics that are led beforehand. It's really supposed to be a group directed discussion. And allow whatever conversation comes from that. And I think that we can often, just by presenting this space to talk about this topic, you really get some really incredible conversations, and it helps other people feel more comfortable. So I'm just really excited for all of the different opportunities that we have during the day.
This might sound morbid. Is My wife and I, my late wife and I, got married real young. But we were always very aware, and we have certain beliefs, and we were very, from the earliest time I could remember, we discussed, well, what if something happens?
Mm-hmm.
And so but when you're healthy and young, it's still you can discuss it, but it isn't quite real.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, I have my degree in psychology, and I've had like Death and Dying, Kubler-Ross, and all that. Write in your own obituary, which have you written your own obituary for a class?
I have not.
Oh, really?
But I've had to write blurbs about my experience. I guess I've done it in ways of promoting my work.
Well, I challenge you then to sit down, write your own obituary, because I'm going to tell you, writing your own obituary and taking a look at yourself, it really, it becomes a bit more real. And it becomes even more real when your wife of almost 37 years passes away. So, so I even have a different look at it, and she didn't want me to be a professional griever, and she wanted me to celebrate life, not forget her, but celebrate life. And so that's through her passing, my whole life has changed, my whole outlook. As I said, I've already had to alter my travel plans because of the eclipse, because I wrote so much about the 32 eclipse that I had to be here for this eclipse. So as much as I'd like to be at your event, I'm not going to cancel this flight.
That's fair. And luckily, we're not reinventing any of these organizations. These tools are out there in the community, and we're happy to continue to connect folks even if they can't make it. Sadly, this year we decided not to. We had several people request a Zoom recording of the presentations, and that was just a little bit more than we could chew this year. But the idea is to continue to build on this and to continue to provide these resources through whatever means individuals need to see them.
I might be wrong, but I know Todd and his crew up this way, the Newport Derby area, they cover such events. So you also have a local access channel down your way that would probably help you out if you ever needed it.
Yeah.
So will you be presenting?
I haven't decided yet. I work with such a lovely team of I have 2 medical trained doctors that are in palliative care that I work with in palliative care. And I also have another nurse practitioner. And then I also work with a wonderful hospice team of providers as well. So I might give them the microphone and stick to more of the administrative part of it and answering questions, but I might get up there and at least introduce a few different people.
I've discussed how my journey to be interested in palliative care.
Mhm.
Do you have any?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
have an old story that
I
you want
certainly
to
do
share?
have a story. My story started when I was 12 years old, actually. My dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was in middle school. And through his process, I really got to see what happened to his quality of life and what he had to go through in order to go into remission from his cancer. I was very fortunate that he had the wonderful team and support down in Dartmouth, and he's been alive for 20 plus years now. And I've throughout my adolescence and into my adulthood, I've seen the side effects of his treatments, and then also the fact that I still have my dad he's been at all of my graduations and supported me along the way. So my journey started back when I was 12 and really thinking about how important quality of life was and recognizing that death can come at any time. And from there, I really focused my whole middle part of my life on focusing on quality of life and how to encourage other folks to do that. I started through thinking about health and wellness, and when I was right out of undergrad, I got my first big girl job, and it was working with older adults in Maine. And it was really there that I got to focus on quality of life in a way of, we can't fix everything, but we certainly can adapt and work towards living the lives that we want to live. And the folks that I worked with in Maine just really taught me so much about how to not waste a day, and you can't wait to live your life. And it really empowered me to become a nurse practitioner, so I could continue to have these really thoughtful, complex conversations in a meaningful way. And now as a nurse practitioner, I feel so grateful that I'm able to help meet people where they are, and then also help with symptom management. It's really beautiful to see when you've made the shift from trying to prolong life at all means necessary to the shift of quality of life. What's important? What do I want to accomplish, and how can I accomplish that? And I really think it's a beautiful part of my journey to be able to be with folks and hold their hand through the finish line.
Okay, we only have 2 more minutes left. Again, the date and location and the time of
Yes. The End of Life Resource and Education Health Fair will be happening at the Union Baptist Church, which is at 932 US Route 5 in Waterford, Vermont. It's happening on Friday, May 17th from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, with presentations throughout that time. We're really excited to partner with the Northeast Kingdom Council on Aging and provide all of the resources to the Northeast Kingdom, the partners, Vermonters, their families, and caregivers.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show, and more important, thank you for your good work, and thank you for organizing this event. I think it's a very important topic, no matter the age, because someday we're going to be headed towards that finish line.
It is certainly something we all go through together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.